Why didn't prehistoric humans eat tigers? 20,000 years ago, somewhere on the island of Palawan, a human walked into a cave carrying pieces of a tiger. Thousands of generations later, archaeologists found what remained. The bones belonged to the animal's feet, and several carried marks made by stone tools. At first, the explanation seems obvious. Someone had killed a tiger, butchered it, and brought part of the animal home for dinner. But the bones told a different story. The cuts were located where someone might slice through skin and connective tissue while removing the hide or separating the paws. Even stranger, the people using this cave treated deer completely differently. Deer carcasses were brought back, butchered for meat, and their bones were smashed open to reach the rich marrow inside. Tiger remains were rare, selective, and concentrated around the feet. That creates a fascinating question. If prehistoric humans were capable of killing one of the most dangerous predators on Earth, why was tiger meat apparently not a normal part of the menu? The answer is not that ancient humans were simply too weak or too frightened. In fact, humans were already becoming one of the most dangerous predators in the world. The real reason was probably much more practical. For a hungry hunter, a tiger was an extremely bad investment. Imagine living in prehistoric Asia. There are no farms, supermarkets, refrigerators, or emergency food supplies. Every calorie your group consumes must eventually come from the landscape around you. That means food decisions are not just about what tastes good. They are about energy. How difficult is an animal to find? How dangerous is it to approach? How likely are you to kill it? How much meat will you receive if the hunt succeeds? And how badly could things go wrong? From that perspective, a tiger begins to look like one of the worst possible animals to hunt for dinner. A tiger is powerful, fast, heavily armed, and designed to kill animals larger than itself. Its claws can hold struggling prey, while its jaws deliver a crushing bite. Its body is built for sudden acceleration and violent close-range attacks. And unlike many prey animals, a tiger does not need to run away from every threat it encounters. If cornered or wounded, it can fight back. For a hunter carrying a wooden spear tipped with stone, that difference matters enormously. A failed hunt for a deer might mean losing dinner. A failed attack on a tiger could mean losing a hunter. And for a small prehistoric group, losing one healthy adult could be far more serious than losing one meal. But danger alone cannot explain everything. Prehistoric humans hunted dangerous animals all the time. They confronted wild cattle, giant deer, boar, mammoths, rhinoceroses, and other animals capable of killing a person. Neanderthals even appear to have hunted cave lions. At a site in what is now Germany, researchers identified damage to a cave lion rib consistent with a hunting weapon penetrating the animal. The evidence suggests that Neanderthals were not merely scavenging every large predator they encountered. Sometimes, they deliberately attacked them, so humans could kill powerful predators. The question was whether killing them for food made sense, and usually, it probably did not. The first problem was abundance. Tigers are solitary predators. They do not normally gather in huge herds that hunters can repeatedly follow across the landscape. Each adult tiger requires access to a territory containing enough prey to survive. That means a healthy ecosystem can contain many deer and wild pigs for every tiger living there. For prehistoric hunters, this created a simple mathematical problem. Walk through a productive landscape, and you might encounter several groups of prey animals before ever seeing a tiger. And when you finally find one, the tiger may notice you first. Deer, wild pigs, and other herbivores were simply more reliable targets. They reproduced faster, occurred at higher densities, and often moved along predictable routes. Some traveled in groups. Others repeatedly visited watering places or feeding grounds. These patterns allowed humans to learn where animals would appear and prepare ambushes in advance. A tiger was different. It was another hunter using the same landscape. It was secretive, mobile, and extremely good at avoiding detection. Trying to locate one specifically for food would waste enormous amounts of time and energy, and prehistoric hunters could not afford to waste energy casually. The strange thing is that humans and tigers were often searching for exactly the same animals. Both wanted deer. Both wanted wild pigs. Both wanted medium-sized animals rich in meat and fat. So rather than hunting the tiger, humans could simply hunt the tiger's prey. That is the key comparison. Suppose your group finds fresh tracks leading in two directions. One set belongs to a deer. The other belongs to a tiger. The deer is dangerous enough. It can run, kick, and injure a hunter. But if the hunt succeeds, Your group receives meat, fat, organs, hide, sinew, bones, and marrow. Now consider the tiger. You still receive meat and useful body parts, but the animal is rarer, harder to locate, and much more dangerous when wounded. From the perspective of survival, the deer is usually the better bargain. The archaeological evidence from Palawan makes this contrast especially interesting. Inside Pilandok Cave, researchers found a large collection of animal remains from roughly 20,000 years ago. Among the identifiable vertebrate remains, deer dominated the assemblage. Their bones showed clear evidence of systematic processing. People transported carcasses, removed meat, and broke bones to access marrow. This is exactly what we expect from animals being heavily exploited as food. Then there were the tiger bones. Only a very small number appeared, and instead of representing many parts of the body, they mainly came from the feet. Some carried cut marks. Those marks were not strong evidence of people slicing large muscles away for dinner. They were more consistent with carefully separating skin, feet, or paws. That difference is important. It suggests the tiger may have entered human society in a completely different way from the deer. The deer entered as food. The tiger may have entered as a valuable object. A complete tiger skin would have been remarkable. Even today, the pattern of a tiger immediately communicates the identity of the animal. For prehistoric people who lived alongside these predators, a tiger hide may have carried enormous practical or social value. It could provide material. It could display hunting ability. It could mark status. It might even have carried symbolic meaning. We cannot know exactly what the people of Palawan believed about tigers 20,000 years ago. The archaeological evidence cannot tell us their stories, rituals, or personal motivations, but it can tell us which parts of animals they selected. And they selected tiger feet very differently from deer carcasses. That alone suggests something important. A tiger may have been more valuable when preserved than when chopped into dinner-sized pieces. There is another reason predators often make unusual food targets. Every predator exists because a much larger population of prey animals exists beneath it. Energy is lost every time food moves through the food chain. Plants capture energy. Herbivores eat those plants. Predators then eat the herbivores. By the time that energy reaches a large carnivore, far fewer animals can be supported by the landscape for human hunters. That means the ecosystem itself naturally produces many more potential herbivore meals than predator meals. If a valley supports hundreds of deer, but only a handful of large cats, the choice is obvious. The humans and the cats are competing for the same biological resource, calories stored inside herbivores. This creates a strange relationship between humans and big cats. They are competitors, but they are also occasional enemies, and sometimes one may steal food from the other. A tiger can kill an animal humans wanted. Humans can discover or steal a carcass killed by another predator. A tiger may threaten people near a camp. Humans may kill a dangerous predator close to their territory. So there were many reasons humans might confront a tiger without planning to eat it. The hunt might be defensive. The animal might be wounded. Humans might discover a carcass. They might want the hide. They might want the paws. Or killing the predator might reduce competition around an important hunting area. Eating some of the meat afterward would certainly have been possible. But that does not mean tiger meat was the original reason for the confrontation. That distinction is easy to miss. Humans can eat an animal without considering it a normal food source. This also helps explain why saying prehistoric humans were afraid of tigers misses the point. Of course they were afraid. Fear is useful when an animal can kill you. But prehistoric people were not helpless creatures hiding from every predator. By the late Pleistocene, humans had weapons, teamwork, planning, communication, and an extraordinary ability to cooperate. A single human standing beside a tiger would be in serious trouble. A coordinated group carrying spears was a very different opponent. Humans could surround animals. They could attack from a distance. They could drive prey toward traps or difficult terrain. They could share information about dangerous locations, and they could learn from previous encounters. This was one of humanity's greatest evolutionary advantages. Not strength, coordination. A tiger had claws, teeth, speed, and muscle. Humans had other humans. That did not make hunting a tiger safe. It made hunting a tiger possible. And once it became possible, humans could choose when the risk was worth taking. That is probably the more important development. The strongest predator is not necessarily the animal capable of winning every fight. Sometimes, it is the animal capable of avoiding unnecessary fights entirely. There may also have been another calculation. A valuable prey animal can provide food for many people. A predator often carries less accessible fat than the large herbivores humans frequently targeted. Fat mattered enormously to hunter-gatherers because lean meat alone does not provide an ideal balance of energy. Marrow, organs, and fatty tissues could therefore be extremely valuable. Large herbivores provided huge packages of these resources. A successful kill could feed a group and provide raw materials at the same time. Bones could become tools. Sinews could become bindings. Hide could become clothing or shelter material. Fat could provide concentrated energy. Marrow could be consumed immediately. Almost nothing needed to be wasted. A tiger offered useful resources too. But once again, the problem was not whether the animal had value. The problem was whether that value justified specifically searching for one. Most of the time, easier opportunities existed, and prehistoric survival strongly rewarded efficiency. People who repeatedly chose dangerous, rare animals when easier food was available would be taking unnecessary risks. Groups that learned which animals offered the best return could conserve energy, avoid injury, and feed more people. This is where prehistoric hunting becomes much less primitive than it first appears. These people were making economic decisions, not with money, with calories, time, distance, injury, and survival. Every hunt was an investment, and that brings us back to the tiger bones inside Palanduk Cave. Someone interacted with a tiger around 20,000 years ago. Stone tools touched its bones. Parts of the animal were transported into a place used by humans, but the tiger was not treated like the deer lying nearby. The deer were processed intensively as food. The tiger appears to have been selected differently. Perhaps its skin mattered. Perhaps its paws mattered. Perhaps the animal carried a meaning that disappeared long before written language reached the island. Whatever the exact reason, those few bones reveal a much larger truth about prehistoric humans. They did not simply attack everything they were capable of eating. They made choices. They understood landscapes. They recognized danger. They compared risks. And they learned that sometimes the most powerful animal in the forest was not the best thing to put on the fire. So why did prehistoric humans not regularly eat tigers? Not because tiger meat was magically forbidden. Not because humans were incapable of killing them. And probably not because every encounter ended with terrified humans running away. The simpler answer is that hunting an apex predator for calories made very little sense. Tigers were rare. They were dangerous. They were difficult to find. And the same landscapes contained far more abundant animals that offered excellent meat, fat, marrow, hide, and bone. When humans did kill a tiger, the most valuable part may not even have been the meat. It may have been the skin, the paws, the prestige, or simply the removal of a dangerous rival. 20,000 years later, the bones still preserve that difference. Deer were dinner. Tigers were something more.